last year was the first year of midnight maneuvers. So this year, I'm sure the guys were a little more exuberant about the process. How do you feel like they tolerated it? And then how prepared do you feel like they are for spring?
I thought they got better each night. I thought, it's one of those deals where, you make it demanding and you want them to sprint through the finish line. I thought they did. I thought they got better each night, and I would have to say, I don't try to put any limits on it, but I'd have to say we were ahead of schedule on that. I thought it would go good. It went, I would say, a little better than I expected.
With all the practices last year, been under preseason or in-season pressures, what's it like to get out there and practice in spring at a different pace, maybe a different instruction level?
I think everybody's excited too. I think we very much need as much work as we can get as a team because we're still an extremely young team, and I think everybody's excited to be out there. We've had a good off season up to this point, which I guess that's the first half of the off season, but everybody's excited to be out there. We had a very I was pleased with it as a first practice. We had an enthusiastic, high effort practice that was sloppy. Most of it, understandably, so that it was sloppy. Some new guys out there and hadn't been out there for a while, but I was pleased with the effort.
Go ahead, John Sokoloff.
We got to see the roster today. Can you comment on the job that Coach Tyson Brown and his group have done over the winter getting these guys ready?
Tyson and that group does a really good job, not just as far as inside the weight room, but outside it as far as, kind of all the accountability things. And then in addition, he's a guy that can create variety. You have to do the same things over and over again to be any good there in the weight room, but he's good at creating variety with it. Keep it exciting and competitive.
Hey, Mike. How's it going? Hope you've had a good last couple of months. How would you kind of assess the competition at really all the positional groups? How kind of competitive has it been, and what positional groups are you expecting the most competition this spring?
Well, I'll be able to tell you more as we get going, and certainly as we put the pads on. I'm trying to think. There's going to be plenty of competition at offensive line. There's going to be plenty of competition at receiver, and not just the ones we have currently, but we'll be excited to get the ones in May. And I think those guys will elevate the competition as we go down the road as well. The secondary, definitely some competition there. And I would say a few D-line slots, not really a D-line overhaul, but definitely some slots there.
And what kind of was your communication like with Will these last couple of months? How's he kind of doing based on you talking with him and what he's been up to?
Well, he's doing a good job. He's one of those guys that's a self-starter when he works, and you trip over him in the film room all the time. So I mean that's a good quality. Then and he's got to win his job too. That's what spring's all about. All the jobs are open, and then they fight it out. And so we've got some good quarterbacks on campus, and they're teeing it up right now. We repped, I think, with the ones we repped 3 guys, and then with the other group we repped, 2 more. So we repped 5 guys today.
And the last one from me, with vaccinations being available for everyone, have you kind of encouraged your guys to go grab one when you can? Has that been something that's really been discussed amongst your team?
They haven't had a lot of discussion on it. I think that actually I'm kind of waiting to hear myself,
Go ahead, Ben.
Mike, in terms of quarterbacks, I mean, do you feel like it's right now between Will and Jack? And if so, what are you kind of assessing when you look at a quarterback competition, and how do you feel like you're kind of going about it with those guys?
Well, we're going to look at all of them. You know, we're going to look at all of them and try to see who separates themselves. You know, I would like to get it down to 2. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Would like to get it down to 2 because there's a point to where you've got to, as they do separate themselves, channel more reps into, you know, your better 2 guys. And so, you know, we're right in the thick of it now as far as seeing who can do what because, you know, they're new faces. I haven't coached a number of them. And so we'll see that. We got some good film today. I was encouraged by how they threw the ball. You know, several of them are doing a pretty good job as far as, I think, knowledge base offensively for a first day, you know, as we get through the installation, we'll see on that. But, yeah, I mean, we're in the starting stages of teaching as much as we can so they can put their skills out there on the field and then trying to pare it down. So, yep, coach them up, teach them as much as you can, try to get their best effort to the surface, and then sort out which best efforts you like the best.
And just to clarify, I mean, in a perfect world, would you like to get down to 2 guys and then go from there heading into summer and fall?
Yes, I would, except for the thing is when we get to camp, we're going to do the same thing again, you know, so, you know, you want to give everybody as many resources as you can to compete, but regardless who we feel like's ahead in spring, we're gonna do it again the first week of camp, go out there and see what we have, and same process.
Steve?
Coach, how would you kind of assess where the team is health-wise, and is there anybody that won't participate in spring practice?
I think we're healthy. I mean, just tried to go through, you know, 90 guys. It seems to me we're healthy. I can't think of anybody I felt like was missing, but I was trying to, this being the first day, get to the right place in the right drill. But we're healthier than we have been. I would say this is the healthiest we've been since I've been here. Not participating in spring. Can you think of anybody? No, we can't think of anybody. That doesn't mean there isn't anybody, but if we think of it or you've got a name in mind or something, then we can address it.
Mike, we saw the news that you hired Jay Hobson, former Southern Miss coach, earlier this week. How did that relationship come to be, and what do you think he can add to your staff, both from an on-the-field and off-the-field perspective?
I've known of him for decades. I've gotten to know him better and better as time's gone on. Just a very sharp guy. Knows Mississippi upside down and sideways, so I think that's very good. But most importantly, just a good, solid coach, you know. His body of work, I think, is impressive. And, you know, anytime you have a guy like that, it's a great resource to, you know, learn from what he knows, you know, and obviously in those situations, not all of it complements what you're doing, but just constantly testing your knowledge base and challenging your own ideas. I think that provides a big resource. And then I also think that an extra set of experienced eyes on what we're doing is huge for us too. So we're very happy to have him.
Joel?
Last year, Mike, we heard you praise Errol Thompson a lot and Kobe Jones a lot for their leadership skills and being vocal leaders of this team. I know one day of spring practice you may not be able to answer it, but just who are you kind of looking to be those next guys? It's kind of the heartbeat of this team and just the vocal leaders that other guys can kind of turn to.
Well, they're emerging as we speak. They're emerging as we speak. Just as you were asking the question, you know, Will came to mind. Aaron Brule came to mind, and then Crumity's doing a lot of really good things right now. Then you got some guys that, by example, are I think impressive. Martin Emerson comes to mind. Charles Cross, Cole Smith. Obviously I'm leaving some guys out, but but I do think we have a number of them that they're just good guys out there that whether it's by their own work ethic or by their general commitment to the program, are just good examples. I mean, if you're in the locker room next to them or you play next to them, I mean, it brings more out of you, and I'll just be walking through and overhear something. It'll inspire me too, because you trudge around in the routine of your day, and then all of a sudden you hear something or somebody's got a little extra enthusiasm. I mean, it inspires me too,
Ben?
Mike, obviously Jay's a really experienced guy, and I know we've seen that analyst role kind of change a lot.
Who did you say? Obviously, who's a very...
Jay Hobson.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've seen that analyst role kind of change a lot in the last few years. I mean, just what do you kind of see that role as, and being able to bring in sort of more experienced guys into that position?
I guess the quickest way to answer that, and there's a lot of ways to answer it and, more dimension to it. So, but I think, just an extra set of eyes in the room, an extra set of eyes in the room as you, as you watch film and do things that you can bounce things off of, and then he can draw from his experience. And, nobody gets to have all the experience. That's why you gotta, you gotta draw from others. I go home and watch documentaries on Netflix because I didn't get to be there, but I get to draw from somebody else's experience and hopefully learn something in the process.
David?
Coach, since we haven't seen you and your staff working in spring before, how do you like to break up the spring between contact, non-contact, kind of your time frame when you want to start separating guys or setting a depth chart?
Well, I mean, you got to make some choices. Who are your three? But with that said, you might have, say, this guy or that guy up with the ones this day, and then rotate them down and bring the other guy up. So, because obviously the first unit's going to be the most cohesive one, and so, it kind of becomes a process of rotating guys up or down to see what they can do. And then, the guy that does the best after several practices, you keep him there. And then as far as the contact days, we do the non-contact days the first 2 days of spring, the first two practices. And then we do it the practice before the spring game is how I've always done it. I've done it pretty much that way every time. So, and I don't know, maybe there's a better way to do it, but that's how I've always done it.
Tyler?
Mike, just another quick one on Hobson. Is he already on campus? Is he there watching spring practices and helping you guys out with that?
Yeah, yes, he is. He's been here. He's been here for a week, and then was out at practice today. I mean, he's a sharp guy. Knows what he's looking at. Knows what he's doing. And to be perfectly honest, I feel like I get smarter just walking past him. So I'm going to walk back and forth past him several times next practice. But no, I mean, he knows what he's doing, and I think in the end it helps all of us.
And then just to circle around back to what we were talking about at the very beginning about everyone being excited to be out there because this is an opportunity they didn't have last year. How much as a coaching staff have you guys kind of drilled that into their heads, saying take advantage of this month because this is a month to get better that you guys didn't have last year? It probably could have really used last year.
We did some of that, but then also try to make it clear that the balance between that it's it's exciting and a privilege to be out there, and as cooped up as we've had these guys through this whole joyless COVID process, some of that is kind of automatic. I mean, we've of all springs, we've had to do less to motivate this spring, at least starting out, than any of them. And then, but then the other thing, just because we're practicing, we're watching film, we're lifting weights, that alone doesn't distinguish us. I mean, because everybody's doing that. Whoever's the worst team in the country is watching film, lifting weights, and haven't practiced. So if we want to distinguish ourselves and have our, if that's all you do, then all you are is everybody else. And so we have to be able to draw more out of our practices, our work, and our focus through effort than the guys down the road. Otherwise, that's who we are. We're everybody else. So we got to get more out of it.